Hello, hello. Happy Wednesday. No, it's not Wednesday. It's Friday, you guys. Happy Friday. Friday, March the 5th. I always have to check what the date is because I never know off the top of my head because we live in COVID world, you guys, and I never know what the date is. Apparently it's Friday. So that's exciting. Hope you guys are doing well. This is my typical weekly stimulus update and Q&A. So we talk about things like status of the new stimulus bill, PPP loans, EIDL loans, unemployment, tax credits, all the things going on specifically for business owners. So wherever you're watching me, say hello. You might be watching me over my YouTube channel. If you are, make sure to like and subscribe so that you don't miss any important updates. Also, come join us over into my Facebook group. So jamietrull.com/group or Financial Literacy for Women Business Owners on Facebook. We're having lots and lots of conversations around these topics right now. All right, so I am typically a financial literacy coach and profit strategist, but lately I have gone back to my CPA roots where I am teaching you guys all the things about all of these government programs to make sure that you are getting the help that you need. So I really want to show up for you guys and make sure that you guys get access to the funds that can help your business and you personally survive through all of this. Okay, cool. So hey, Autumn, hey, Joyce, hey, Jason, hey, Stacy, hey, Facebook users, make sure that you put in above, because what it's going to show me is just Facebook user. Make sure to give StreamYard permission to see your name if you're watching me in my Facebook group. Hi, Iris. I'm so glad. And thanks for watching me over on YouTube. Hopefully you're over in my Financial Literacy for Women Business Owners group as well. Okay, guys. So what are we talking about today? Let's talk about some updates. First of all, what's going on with the new stimulus bill? So there's the new 1.9 trillion-ish stimulus bill that's been going through Congress. It's now sitting in the Senate. They're probably going to be voting this weekend to pass that bill. It's not, I would be shocked if that bill did not pass because it appears that they have the votes and they're doing what's called a reconciliation vote, which means that they only need a simple majority to pass this bill. They don't need the 60 votes. You can do that 3 times in a year, and the Democratic-controlled Congress is going to use a reconciliation vote on this stimulus bill to get it through. So there's a lot of things in this stimulus bill. A lot of these things are going to impact business owners. So it's really, really good to stay on top of it. I will do more. I'll do another live on everything that's in it once it passes and I can read the full text. I've learned my lesson to never sit down and read the full text of a bill until it's been passed, because there have been a few times that I've spent a lot of hours on something that never actually, came to be. So I will be sitting down and reading the whole thing after that point. Especially the sections, at least, that are relevant to business owners, self-employed individuals, because that is who I serve. So what's in this new stimulus bill? Okay, so there's a lot of different things from the standpoint of a business owner, but let's talk about the stimulus checks, because that's something that's not just for business owners, that's for everybody. So the stimulus checks, the next $1,400. So remember, we got $600. There was the whole $2,000 versus $600 controversy. Well, now we're coming back around and we should be able to get the next $1,400. That's $1,400 a person. It also should apply to adult dependents as well. So that's new. So those were kind of scoped out previously. They should also get the $1,400. So $1,400 for everybody in your household. And it will also, however, be phased out a little bit earlier. So that's important to note, is that it's going to phase out at a lower level. What does that mean? Well, previously you got the whole amount if it was under $75,000 single, if you file single, or if you made under $150,000 married filing jointly. Remember, that's your adjusted gross income. So that's after kind of your standard deduction and that kind of stuff. So it's usually lower than what your actual income is. But it would phase out. Between previously it was $75,000 and $100,000, it would phase out, and you wouldn't get anything over $100,000. If you were single, if you were married filing jointly, $150,000 to $200,000, it would phase out entirely at $200,000. They've changed that now in the new bill, and it looks like this is what's going to make it into the final one that they're going to vote on, which is a phase out that it's still under $75,000, you get the whole thing. Under $150,000 married filing jointly, you get the whole thing, but the phase out's much smaller. So it's between 75 and 80,000. You get a little bit. And if you're over 80, you get nothing. And 150 and I believe 160. So married filing jointly. So it phases out after 160 and you get nothing. So you'll get a partial if you're in between, and you'll get the whole thing if you're under those lower limits. But if you're above them, you don't get anything. So that's just something to keep in mind. I think they're really trying to target the people that really need it and try to limit it getting in the hands of people that don't actually need it as much as others right now. So that's one of the things. Unemployment, PUA, your pandemic unemployment assistance is going to be extended probably through September. There's original talks of August. It looks like it's probably going to end up being September in the final bill. And so they're changing that. And the other thing was, it looks like it's going to be an extra 300 each week. There was talks of 400 federal pandemic unemployment compensation, right? Because remember, we had 600 at one point. It's been all different kinds of numbers. It looks like they're going to settle on 300 instead of the 400, but they are looking like they're putting into the bill a way to make the first $10,200 in unemployment you received. And it looks like it's going to be for both 2020 and then again 2021, the first 10,200 in each of those years will be tax free. So that's really great because remember, I talked about the fact that unemployment is taxable. If you've gotten unemployment funds, those are taxable. And some people were able to withhold on the entire thing. Some people couldn't withhold taxes on all of it. And so some people are getting surprised with a big tax bill because of the unemployment that they received. So this would make the first $10,200 of unemployment you received not taxable. So what does this mean if you've already filed? And I'm gonna make this blanket statement right now, because people are asking, and I love when people are on it, right? I love when people are on top of everything and they get things done early. But what we're finding in the whole world of stimulus, right, is it's better to not be too early. So I think that that's the lesson that we've learned in all of this, is that the people who acted fast and acted quickly might have missed out on things later. So in this case, if you've already filed your taxes, you'd have to go back and file an amendment probably. We don't know yet exactly how it'll work, but to claim that tax exemption and to get less. And then you have to pay an accountant to refile it, and it's going to be just a headache. So I am telling people, because things are changing so fast, just extend your tax return this year. I normally am not a proponent. I'm normally a proponent of getting it done, right? But you can file an extension and you're not going to owe anything additional. Now, important to note, when you file an extension, if you think you're going to owe money, you do have to estimate the amount you're going to owe, and you're going to have to pay that amount, but don't file. So you might do your return, but don't file it yet. Hang on to it, pay whatever you think you're going to owe if you owe money, and just extend it. Because it's going to be a lot easier to do that than it is to have to refile later on down the line. I don't want you guys to miss out on money. Things are changing, but they're only changing for the better in most cases, right? So filing early is not going to help you this year, okay? So that means both your business returns that are due March 15th, which is like right around the corner, y'all, right? Extend those. You actually have to file an extension for those. You can do it yourself, or you can get an accountant to do it for you. You can extend those to September 15th, and your personal return, which is due April 15th, you can extend to October 15th for free. Okay. So just a little piece of advice from me is, I think this is the year of the extension. Some tax accountants, I don't know, some tax accountants might like that. Some might be mad at me for saying that, but the earlier that you file this year, the more you may feel like you're going to miss out, right? Okay. Let's see. So exactly this, how does this affect us for 2020 filing? So we have to wait for it to pass, and then they have to probably redo, the tax, forms, couldn't find the word, forms for this, and make it such that it's not going to be taxed. It's not going to calculate tax on the first 10,200. As of right now, though, if you file today, it will calculate tax on that. That's why I'm saying this. Okay. So let's see. As far as FFCRA, so this is COVID paid sick leave, okay? So you can get this whether you're an employer or you're self-employed. Sounds like you're an employer and you paid people for COVID sick leave or family leave if they had to stay home and care for a child whose place of school or care was closed. So you didn't know about it until recently, fair. Can we still go back and claim the credit for vacation time that was paid to employees for quarantining last year? Yes, you will likely have to go back and issue a 941X, okay? And this does, FFCRA and eRTC do impact your returns as well. So this is important to know depending on what type of entity you are, right? If you are going to file your tax return, this is another reason to extend your tax return, you guys, because if you go back and claim those, then you can't claim those wages for as a tax deduction. So if you paid them and got a full tax credit back, right? So let's say you paid them $10,000 and the government says, here you go, here's $10,000 for the amount that you paid them. Well, you can't then turn around and take that full $10,000 as a tax deduction. So is it still worth it? Yes, because let's say you have a 25% tax bracket, right? And you paid $10,000 and you can't deduct the expenses. Well, you lose $2,500 in an expense deduction, but you got $10,000. So I would say that's a pretty good return, right? So it's still worth it to do, but there is an interplay between your returns and what you do on your 941s. So that is another reason to extend your returns if you can, because you may get in a situation where in order to get the max amount of money, you would have to amend it. Same thing with the employee retention tax credit, right? There is an interplay there. So if you file for it after, and you can still amend it after March 15th, right? You can still amend your last year's 941 to take the credit. But now you got a problem because if you've already filed your taxes, you might have to go back and do an amendment to your tax return to take out that deduction, if that makes sense. So they're all kind of intertwined. So you want to make these decisions early, but if you haven't done it, extend. Even if you've never done an extension before, and I don't do extensions just because I like it to be done. That's just me. I like it to be done. But this year I'm going to extend because I want to make sure that I don't have to get in a situation where I have to go back and do an amendment and pay for an amendment and everything later on down the line. Let's see. Okay. So they've extended it for Texas. They have not extended it yet. I don't know. I would have thought that they would have done it by now if they were going to do it, but it doesn't look like it. It seems like now this year almost is more important than last year. I mean, last year was important too, but this year with everything changing so quickly, you'd think that they would change that sooner rather than later. Okay. So for this, how do you use a 2020 Schedule C for PPP if you file an extension? So you can actually use in the guidelines anyway, and how the banks actually do this in practice is another thing. But in the guidelines, it tells you can actually do a draft one. So you can complete the whole thing and just not file it and use that, your draft Schedule C. So again, I think it is still good to prepare your taxes to see where you're at. It'll help you prepare as well and know sort of what kind of refund you might be getting or alternatively. But yes, you can fill that out and use that for PPP. Let's see. So I have a whole video that I did on this that I've linked above. So for self-employed people, if you haven't gotten PPP yet, and it does not look like it's going to be retroactive, although there is some political pressure going on. So call your congressman if this really impacts you and you want to increase your past loans. But they have changed it to where if you're self-employed, i.e. you file a Schedule C, and you can apply using your line 7, which is your gross income, instead of your net profit. That will increase the amount of loan that you can get. So if you haven't applied, you can use line 7, but go watch the full video. I made it this week. I made it late at night because they finally issued all the new guidance on Wednesday night, and the Treasury loves to ruin my evenings. So go watch Tired Me try to explain the changes to PPP in the video that I've linked above for self-employed people. Okay. Let me see. So let's talk a little bit about, well, like Jody said, let's talk about PPP. I agree, Jody. Let's talk about PPP. And you've got a monkey on your head. And I think every time I put you up on screen, I think about what a great picture the picture of Jody with a monkey on her head is. It's fantastic. Okay. PPP. So yes, PPP has changed for self-employeds going forward. Go watch my video if that's you. I've actually linked 2 PPP videos above. So one of them is like, if you're like, I don't even know, I haven't really been paying attention and like haven't really been keeping up with what's going on with PPP. I did a whole live on Wednesday. I will warn you, it's about 45 minutes, but it's worth it. Go watch it on YouTube and 2-speed me so you can watch it in like 20 minutes, where I talked about just the whole rundown of PPP. And that was Wednesday morning. And so there were still a few things that were up in the air with the PPP self-employed, but I pretty much was right on with my assumptions around it. And then I did another YouTube video on Wednesday night that speaks just to the changes that they made for self-employed people who are applying. So Schedule C filers. So go watch one or both of those videos and you'll get kind of the whole rundown, because I get so many questions about PPP. What can I use it for? How do I qualify? How much do I qualify for? How do I calculate it? So I did a whole video, a whole live just on that topic. So go check that out if you're in that PPP world. Remember, PPP ends March 31st. It's not looking to me like the money's going to run out. So I just pulled this up, and I like to pull this up once a week. They update this, and this is a summary on the SBA website of how much PPP has gone out the door. So at this point for 2021, 156 billion has been lent, I think. Lent is like the thing that happens before Easter, though. So that's very confusing. So they have lent out 156 billion. What does that mean? Well, there was a total for 2021 and what was authorized of 284 billion. Okay. So we've still got another 130 billion left. And last week, when I pulled this same report, it was only 140 billion. So we've gone up about 16 billion. So that's not too bad. At that rate, we're not going to run out before the end of March. Now that they've made these changes, though, it's probably going to pick up a little bit. It's probably going to go a little bit faster because a lot of people weren't applying at the beginning of this week because of they were waiting on those new rules for self-employed. So you still have time to get your applications in until March 9th at 5 p.m. They are only taking applications for businesses that have under employees or no employees at all. So if that's you, go find a bank that's doing this. I know my bank, Bank Novo, is taking applications for gross income. If you want to find one, if you want to use that line 7, make sure that you find a bank that has updated their systems for that. Not all of them have, but a lot of them have. So if you guys have gotten your loan or have seen that there is a bank taking applications using line 7, your gross income, drop it below in the chat so that people can see it. I'll put it up on the screen. But I've heard, I think maybe Cross River already is. There are several banks, maybe PayPal. I can't remember at this point. But drop yours if you've gotten it. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and put this out there. Because I like to be upfront with you guys. There are some people in the YouTube circuit that are advocating for a company called Womply. And I don't know much about this company, so I don't know much about it at all. And so people have been asking me about it. I'm a little wary of it. They're not a bank themselves. And they partner with banks and get paid by banks to direct people to the banks. I would go to a bank directly, personally. I think that that's you want to have a relationship directly with the bank. Womply also weirdly is letting people apply for both draws at the same time somehow, which is, when you look at the rules, is not allowed. So a lot of people keep asking me that question of, can I get both? If I haven't gotten one yet, can I apply for both or get one right after the other? The rules say you have to have used your PPP loan, and the implication is over a minimum of at least 8 weeks of a covered period before the money gets deposited for your second loan. So you can't just get one and then next week get the next, right? You have to have used it correctly to get the second one. So for most people, unless they extend the program, you're not going to be able to get 2 if you didn't get one in 2020. Okay, but I just want to caution, because there's a lot of people on YouTube that seem to be promoting this company, and I would just be wary. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so we've got Autumn in here. Autumn's answering a whole bunch of questions. Autumn is one of my, she's one of my star members. So I love when she gets in the comments and answers a lot of y'all's questions, because it makes life easier for me. So thank you, Autumn. Autumn is awesome. Oh, good. Yes, good. I'm glad that you found it helpful. Okay. So that is kind of the story of PPP. Go watch those other tutorials for even more information. What else is in the new bill? The new bill also may have some more money towards EIDL. Haven't looked into what exactly that means. Looks like it's still more geared towards low income. They're still doing those targeted grants. So if you're in a low income area, which if you guys need it, I'm going to put it out there. If Autumn doesn't beat me, here's the map for low income. I just put it in the chat, but this is the map. It's off the SBA site. This is where you can figure out if you are in a low income area. So if you're in a low income area, that means, and you have a decline in your business by at least, I think, 25%. I might be getting my percentages confused, but over an 8-week period, then you can get this targeted EIDL grant, but it's only available to people who already got the first grant. So if you applied last year, you got $1,000 per employee. Maybe it was just you only got $1,000, right? They are giving people up to the max of $10,000 if you live in a low income area, but you have to get an email telling you can apply. And they're basing the emails off of this map and what you put in as your business address. So as of right now, there's not really a way, I don't believe, to actually contact them to see. So somebody's asking where I find the spreadsheets to purchase. So there are 2 spreadsheets that you can purchase from me that are super helpful, that can save you thousands of dollars. So one of them costs $7 and one of them costs $17. I think it's a pretty good deal. And pricing subject to change, because I always say the price and then sometimes we change the prices and then people get upset with me. So price is subject to change. Right now, if you're watching this right now, on the 5th of March, they are $7 and $17. One of them, it looks like you're looking for the self-employed COVID-19 leave. That is linked above. Or you can go to jamietroll.com/FFCRA. That's going to give you the calculator to determine what you're eligible for COVID paid family and sick leave. You can take it as a tax credit. You can get up to $15,000 of a tax credit. Tons of people are going to miss this. I don't want you to be one of them. So get the calculator. It also comes with a video where it walks through how to use the calculator and what that means. It can be up to, there we go, Autumn's on it. It can be up to $15,000 for you. So if you had to take time off because your kid's school was closed, but you're a self-employed person, you don't pay yourself a paycheck, you can still get this. So make sure that you are downloading this spreadsheet. And then the other one I have is the employee retention tax credit. That one is for my employers out there. You can get up to $19,000 per employee. Drop mic. It's a lot. I keep having people send me notes that are like, oh my God, I had no idea. I can save $48,000. Oh my God, I have no idea. There's $72,000 of a tax credit that I didn't know I was gonna be eligible for. You guys, it adds up. It adds up. So I want you to make sure that you're checking that. And then you can check in with your CPA, your accountant, to help you actually file to get the credit on that one. But definitely make sure that you're downloading those spreadsheets. They've been super popular lately. Okay, let's see. So that is pretty much, I think that's pretty much the updates that I had. They're putting, like I said, they're putting more money probably towards the EIDL program, but it's unclear whether that's loans or grants. I'll update you once we have a final bill. They are putting in the final bill, there's more grants for restaurants and bars. So $25 billion for restaurants and bars. I don't know all the details behind that, but that's just something, if that applies to you, that might be useful. And then they're also adding another $7 billion to PPP, which is a really random number because, like I said, right? I mean, we had 284 for the full for 2021. So $7 billion. I mean, it's a lot of money, but it's not a significant amount in the grand scheme of the PPP program. So I would love to see it extended. Oh, the couple things that they are looking to extend. I think I told you about unemployment, which will probably now go to September with the extra compensation of $300 a week. Also, the FFCRA leave. Which was the COVID paid leave credit, right? If you're paying your employees because they have to be out for COVID, you get a tax credit back. Yay, rah, you get reimbursed basically for the entire amount of the leave. It's not mandatory anymore in 2021. It was in 2020. You did have to pay people. Now you don't, but you might as well because you get the full amount back as a tax credit. But that's going to probably get extended as well through, I think it was, I might be making this up, October 1st is what I saw in the most recent summary that I was looking at. So that would mean you could continue to pay people and get that tax credit back, which would be great. I think that's been a really great thing for people to be able to claim, and that should continue for self-employed people as well. Unemployment, they just took it down from 400 to 300, but like I said at the beginning of this, they are probably going to be making $10,200 of it, the first $10,200 of unemployment in each year, 2020 and 2021, tax-free. So that's another reason, extend your tax return, because things are only going to get better. They're only going to put more and more of these types of things out there. For second draw, you can use 2019 or 2020. Use the one that's going to give you more. Make sure to watch, however, my video on the self-employed gross income, because there are some watch outs, especially if your line 7's over 150,000. So I want you to go watch that video because it'll give you all the rundown of the watch outs there. Yes, I believe there's also an extension of eRTC, although now I can't remember seeing it specifically laid out. Right now, eRTC is Q1 and Q2. And honestly, you guys, Q1 and Q2 are even better than the entirety of 2020. You can get, what is it, 7,000 per employee per quarter for employee retention credit, even if you got a PPP. Now, if you can't pay the funds with PPP and get the credit for it, but you can still qualify, and any funds that you didn't pay with PPP, you can get a tax credit for up to $7,000 per employee. I don't want y'all to miss this. Grab my eRTC calculator. Make sure you don't miss something really, really key here. A ton of people are going to miss it. Let's see. Yes, if you have multiple businesses, you can file for multiple businesses. I don't think that there is an expiration date to file for the eRTC, but it does, remember, like kind of impact your tax return as well. So I don't think there's a date by which, especially if you're talking about for 2020, right? You could amend it at any point in time, I think. Don't take my word for it, but I think, but remember, it does impact your personal return. So it's better to kind of get that figured out sooner rather than later. Okay, guys. So let me see if there's any other questions from you. Yes, to use Novo, I think you do have to have an account. I do recommend Bank Novo if anybody's looking for a business bank account. They're amazing. I moved all of my funds to them last month. I only recommend things that I actually use, you guys. So that's important when you're looking at what people are recommending to you. JamieTrull.com/Novo if you want to see more about it. It's a great, totally free online business bank account. It takes like 5 minutes to set up an account. So this is great for those of you who might be self-employed and don't have a separate bank account. You're probably going to want to have one for all of this type stuff. So this is important. Yes. So when you're trying to decide what wages to use for PPP and what wages to use for eRTC, you want to optimize that. So in the past, I used to tell people it's probably easiest to just use your PPP and claim it all as, the official usage, claim it all as payroll if you have enough payroll to support that in the time frame, right? The fact that now you can get eRTC and PPP changes that a bit, because now you probably actually want to, reduce the amount of PPP you're claiming as wages to the minimum you need to, which is 60% if you have enough other expenses. And then that gives you more wages to claim with your eRTC. Now, if that just made your head explode, I have a friend who's doing consults. I don't have the link handy, but I will post it. She is a CPA. She's doing one-to-one consults and helping people with this specific issue is one of the things that she's helping clients with. There is. So, sorry, I meant to say it to Judy. Yes, there is. There's a video on family sick leave for self-employed. It is on my YouTube channel, or you will get it if you buy the calculator that's $7 in the email with the calculator. It'll have a link to the video. So either way, or you can go watch the video first if you want to see what it is. It's over on YouTube. right. Covered period is anywhere between 8 and 24 weeks, depending on what you choose. Essentially, it's the time period over which you use your PPP funds. You used to have to pick either 8 or 24 weeks. Now you can pick any time in between. Really, you want to pick, like, if you used it over 12 weeks, then you could just claim it as 12 weeks, right? So your covered period is just the time frame that you're using your PPP loan over. It can't be more than 24 weeks. It does start when you get the money, though. You can't delay it. You can't start it a month later. It's when you get the money that you start it. Autumn, you are just the best. Like, Autumn is on it today. I am so appreciative of you, Autumn. Let's see. Do you have to have employees in 2019 to get eRTC? Not in 2019. No, just in the year you're claiming it. So in 2020, you don't have to have employees in 2019. Oh, I'm so glad. Thank you. I have enjoyed putting them together for you guys. I'm glad people are getting a lot of value from it. Let's see. I'm sorry if I'm missing any of your questions. I'm trying to get to as many as I can, but the chat roll moves pretty quick because I'm seeing questions from 3 different platforms that are all being collated together because this is being broadcast in a lot of different places. Is there any guidance about the approved time between first and second draw PPP? I'm reading conflicting information. My understanding is you have to use all of your first draw PPP funds before you can apply for a second, or not before you can apply. Take that back. Before that money is deposited. And the problem is you don't know how long it's going to be. Can you apply ahead of time? Yes, but you have to be able to support that you used it correctly, the first draw. And my understanding of that is you have to use it over a minimum of 8 weeks. So a lot of banks are not allowing people who just applied for a first draw to apply for a second draw as well. I think the safe interpretation of that is 8 weeks from like time of deposit to time of deposit, and you have to have used all those PPP funds in that 8 weeks, which if you're self-employed, you technically can't, right? Because you're paying yourself essentially 11 weeks worth of pay, 10.8 weeks of pay. It's 2.5 months worth of pay. So that is what I would say to that. Yes, this is my recommendation is that the reason I have the calculator for you is so that you can see if you qualify. But then most people are going to want to work with a professional to make sure they're checking their calculation, right? Make sure you pulled out PPP funds correctly. You're not double counting anything, that you're calculating it the way you should. And also to file your report. So you would, for 2020, you're going to file a 941X. You usually want to go with it's probably your accountant in conjugation with your payroll company that are going to be able to help you with this. It depends. Sometimes they kind of pass the buck between one another, but really your accountant should help you because your payroll company doesn't know what you got as a PPP loan. If you didn't get a PPP loan, your payroll company can be the one to help you file the 941X in most cases. But if you did get a PPP loan, I do recommend that you consult with somebody, which is why I have Christy's information in here. My friend Christy, who is a CPA, is doing consults for people to help them with that. I am not anticipating a new round. Nope. Okay. So I'm just going to put this here. I'm not sure how to take this. I'm not sure how to take this. First of all, I'm probably older than you think. So I think that's very kind because Alex Mack is like, that was like my era. So that tells you Alex Mack was on TV when we're probably similar ages actually. So I need to look at what she looks like now, but I'll take that as a compliment. Thank you. Let's see. Self-employed FMLA, go grab my calculator or go jump over to, that's part of that FFCRA leave is the expanded FMLA. So go grab the self-employed FFCRA calculator or go over to my YouTube channel and find my video specifically about FFCRA for self-employed, COVID sick leave, and family leave for self-employed. That includes expanded FMLA. Okay, guys. All right, so I'm going to run because I'm over my time, but hopefully this was helpful. I'll keep you up to date as this new stimulus likely will pass this weekend, which is going to make next week super duper fun. Yeah, I think I think I told you, Autumn, that like I was pretty sure they were going to announce it on Tuesday because they love to ruin my dinner. So usually it's like in the evening on Tuesday that they announce new guidance or things happen, but it was Wednesday evening instead. So there you go. Okay, guys, I'll see you guys next time. Have a fantastic weekend. Bye-bye. I need a sign off, tagline. I'm going to work on that for next time.